Rich, when you go back and look at those red zone opportunities, what kind of stood out in the struggles there?
We put ourselves in some tough spots in third down and long, and some third and 7s and 8s down around the 10 to 12 to 14 yard line. I mean, it was unfortunate the way it played out. The very first third down we had, I mean, we had the perfect call. We had a ball batted down, and the guy was open, and that was the first ball I remember Will getting batted down this year. There was a little push, but the guy made a good play. You know, you catch that and score a touchdown, and maybe looks at things differently, and then. And then they beat us on a pressure one time that we hadn't seen, and they all outed us and sacked us. One time, Dane got kind of hemmed up. You can call it for what it is. If we throw it at him, maybe there's a flag on the play, but we don't. It is what it is. And then the last one, we had an MA on a route. So Will got sacked because we were looking for a post, and the guy broke out. So, that's a little of everything, and that doesn't make it right. It needs to be cleaned up, but it's unfortunate because we moved the ball. We had 8 possessions. We valued them. We didn't really have a turnover for the second week, and the last play's a Hail Mary, so it's unfortunate the way it went, and we didn't get more points out of it. It's really a shame.
Is there anything to young guys in the red zone situations, the pressure increases? Is there anything to that, like the mental mistakes, or is it harder to peg, I guess, why those things have popped up in those situations?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's the pressure. I mean, you got 3 true freshman receivers that are playing them. DeKel, Dane, and Barryon took most of the reps outside of T-Rob. So you got 3 18-year-olds in there, and their best days are ahead of them. They're learning every day, and a guy gets tired, and the guy subs out, and he hasn't had and he goes in there and he's not as crisp, or he doesn't run something. That's on us. We got to make sure they're prepared, and maybe it is one too many plays in the red zone. But they're things we've been doing since training camp and fall camp, and it wasn't new stuff. So that's the difficult part sometimes. But you got to win some one-on-ones down there too, and they did a good job of covering us, and they rushed us, and they pressured us, and maybe it was play design.
What have conversations with Coach Stoops been like since Saturday?
I mean, we have them every week. I mean, they've been candid as always. I appreciated that about him. He's got a defensive perspective that I always value too, and he's perceptive. He understands the history of this program and what he expects, and the reality of it is we need to score more points, and he's not happy with that. I'm not happy with that. There's not a player in the locker room that's not happy with that, and it's time to get it fixed. So it's just the way it is, but we got to do a better job and be more efficient. I mean, we're controlling the ball. We're getting better up front. We ran for 200 yards. There's a lot of good stuff on that tape. Literally, if you catch one more ball or one more play and you score 30, everyone's looking at it differently. But we don't, and we lose, and we have to own that, and that's on us as coaches, and that's definitely where we have to get better.
How do you think these players are at blocking out the noise? I mean, obviously with the challenge this week, it's not a situation where you can afford distractions.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to ask them that. Like each individual, it's a different world, and there's a lot of people. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're in the NFL or college. There's you got people at home, you got people on Instagram and everywhere else that are getting to you, and there is noise. And when they I always feel like they'll tell you things are better than they are when they are good, and they'll tell you things are worse than they are when they're bad. And the truth is somewhere in the middle, and you can't panic. You got to keep going after it. You got to strive every day to be your best version of yourself. And if you can do that, you can play it at this level. You can coach at this level. You can play in the NFL. You can do those things. If you can't handle those distractions, it's too big for you. You're in the wrong spot.
How do you keep them from not panicking when the number 1 team in the country's coming in?
That is a great. Honestly, if anything, it should. It's an exciting challenge. Like you can look at it 2 ways. It can focus you because you know what's demanded of you, and to be at your best against the best players and one of the best coach teams and best schemes in the country, and number one defense in the country. And it's fun watching the tape how precise they are and how hard they play, and that is a challenge to you to match that. And that's part of being when you got a bunch of young guys. Can you do that? Can you fight through that? Can you become that kind of team? Because that's what it's going to take in the long run. And we're building something with a lot of guys for the future as well. So I think the focus has been good. I'm excited about it. We had a great practice. The energy was positive and good. So, you know, again, felt we practiced very sharp last week too and very tight. So I don't want to overreact in any way, but yeah, it's a big challenge.
As a follow-up, you've had a lot of good practices and good weeks.
Yeah.
Why isn't it translating to the field?
It's, like I said, it's just we're moving the ball and we're doing good things, but we're not getting in the end zone. One of the downsides to, you know, we've had explosives, but they're not scoring all the time. You know, chunk plays are great, but when chunk plays get tackled on the 25 instead of scoring, it's hard. You know, you got to earn your way into the red zone, and you have to be precise. I mean, we had a 14-play drive or something in that game that came away with nothing. You know, where we missed a kick, I think it was, or because we took a sack down there and we were a little further out. That's when you're shortening the game and playing complementary ball, and you're not playing fast and not speeding the game up. It demands precision and it demands execution in the red zone that rely on touchdowns and not field goals. And that ultimately, to me, has been what has held us from being an explosive offense that's scored the kind of points that create separation, and it just hasn't happened. And we've let every game linger because of it, and it's whether it's get down there and kick it, or we've had kicks missed, we've taken sacks and made the kicks harder. Like we got to be better complementary, and we got to end in touchdowns.
You got veterans in the tight end room who we were told that three or four of them are going to play in the NFL. Are they being maybe misused right now, not used enough?
Well, I think part of it's been injury. I mean, you got two older guys and two freshmen, and two young guys that are playing. So you got, you know, Bates is, and I don't want to get into the details of it all, but all year long he is gutted it out like a true warrior. So he has been limited, and it has been our job to try and manage that throughout the season so that he could finish the season. So he's done a heck of a job. So that has affected his play time. But in the end, you're going to play the best players. And right now, you're going to play the guys that are doing it the best, that are effective, that can help you win games. You play other guys, but those two young guys are really special players, and it's hard to not have guys like that. You know, Dingle is a smart, physical, incredibly gifted player, and Caddis has just gotten better. I mean, he's had, you know, a number of pancakes in the last few weeks. He just scraps his way around the game, and he's got great feel, and he's reliable. So, you know, the way it's flowed, we played less tight ends in some games. Earlier in the year, we had those big sets, and we use them more. So it's just been those two guys playing a little bit more, and you know, and you can't get them all on the field all the time. There's not enough snaps.
Rich, you talked back on media day about being able to scheme around some protection issues,
Yeah.
especially at tackle at times. Has that been harder, or why did that not play out the way
It's been much harder. Just because it's been a combination of things. When you have to do it from the very beginning every week, you know, when you do it against the better teams and the better pass rushers, you can use, you know, these little tricks and things to help to make it look like you're doing other things and help guys. Because of our youth and because of things that have gone on and different injuries and just tough matchups, even in the games you wouldn't expect, we've been forced to use help. And when you put that on tape all the time, people exploit it, you know. And when you can limit it every third week, and you can do it for 5 plays a game, not 15 plays a game, I think you're able to mitigate some of those things, and you work around it. When you're not able to do that, and it does accumulate, it has accumulated far more than I would have thought from the beginning. People see what you do and they attack you, and there's no doubt about it that has been an issue for us up front this year and in protection. But I will also say that it has gotten better, and it's not all on the line at times either. It's sometimes it might be a schematic thing, it might be might have been a quarterback holding on, or there's been a couple where the receiver, you know, he doesn't break in and the quarterback's waiting on it, things happen. So.
Or someone that looks at film and analyzes, does some stuff like it, say it's kind of like the dam with the holes, and you're kind of plugging one in another.
Yeah, I mean, we got you know, we got some real young guys in there that have gotten better. but you know, there's been a lot of different guys that have played, and yes, it's when you're throwing the football and you're asking your guys to drop back and pass, and especially in college football, in this league, it can be very, very hard. I mean, there's just every team has a pass rusher, and then when you have teams that have 2 or 3, or they have a good front where they're bringing pressures and they're attacking you, it does get difficult. And on top of that, I've had a quarterback that hasn't been mobile because he's had turf toe for 8 weeks. So those are things that add up on you too. And when those things happen, and Will has had to fight through those things, they add up. But he's been much better. He's healthier now, and he's feeling better. And I think it has allowed him to play a little faster as well too.
Okay, folks, thank you very much.